When you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits, 1.4 million, 1.4, they are not eligible, so they will be coming off. So people are not, well, we all are going to die. So for heaven's sakes.
For heaven's sakes is right. Republican Iowa Senator Joni Ernst caused quite a stir with those comments this week at a town hall where she was pressed about her support for Medicaid cuts in the House GOP budget bill. After facing intense backlash, she doubled down with a sarcastic non-apology.
I made an incorrect assumption that everyone in the auditorium understood that, yes, we are all going to perish from this earth. So I apologize. And I'm really, really glad that I did not have to bring up the subject of the tooth fairy as well.
Joining us now, Neera Tanden, former assistant to the president and domestic policy advisor during the Biden administration, and another Eugene Craig, chair of Black Republicans for Harris. Eugene, I want to start with you because that is not really how Senator Ernst operates typically. Like she's not this sarcastic to the camera, walking through maybe a graveyard, making jokes like this. What the hell is going on?
What the hell? I mean, the thing is this is where we're at in 2025. The Senator Ernst that we knew in 2014 or even like going back to 2010 when she first hit the scene is not the Senator.
Or December
is not the Senator Ernst we're dealing with in 2025. We're dealing with a post-Elon Musk that had an actual White House position. We're dealing with a Donald Trump that's doing things that presidents typically do in Q4 of year 4 and Q2 of year 1. Mm-hmm. So that's the environment that we're in right now.
Yeah. Neera, Democrats actually poll better on health care. So this is a weak issue for Republicans. How can they actually attack off of gaffes like this and what's actually happening with the budget?
Well, I thought this happened at an incredibly opportune time, and it is a real issue. The fact is that the Republican plan would mean 14 million people will lose health care, and when people lose health care, people die. So it is a completely legitimate issue, the fact that this reconciliation bill, this budget bill, this big, beautiful bill really means it is Robin Hood in reverse. We are taking health care. They are taking health care from working class people in order to pay for a tax cut for billionaires. That is the fact of the matter. And that's why I thought the fact that there was so much umbrage about this, people are so angry.
In Iowa,
it's a uniting issue. And as we head into Senate consideration of this legislation, which is going to happen in the next week or two, the fact that Joni Ernst made this huge, colossal mistake is really crucial because it illustrates the essential problem, which is senators are actually supposed to save your life, not do things to help kill people.
Well, on the reconciliation bill, you might not be surprised to know that the Speaker of the House would disagree with your characterization of the reconciliation bill. Here's what he had to say just moments ago on Meet the Press.
And, Mr. Speaker, a number of Senate Republicans share Elon Musk's concerns that it will add to the debt and deficit. So how do you convince your Republican Senate colleagues to get on board and support this bill?
Well, I convinced my friends and colleagues by use of the facts. I sent a long text message to my good friend Elon Musk after he made those comments the other day to explain this is not a spending bill. This is a reconciliation package. It is reconciling a budget. So there is some additional spending, as you noted earlier at the opening, for national security, for historic investments in border security, the largest in generations.
Who wants to take it? Because all I know is this is a spending bill.
It's 100% a spending bill. And the thing is this, one more time, why Elon should not have been in government. He doesn't even understand that this just still is a mandatory spending, not a discretionary spending. But all he's cared about is, hey, is Tesla going to turn a profit if they lose their tax credits for EVs? But the thing is this, Republicans, they're drunk on spending. They every year in, year out, they say Democrats are going to blow up the budget, Democrats are going to. But we have a united Republican government, and spending is going up. It's not an actual cut in spending. This is an actual increase in spending. It's literally the blowing up of the budget, the blowing up the deficit, the blowing up of the national debt.
I just want to add, what's really crucial about this bill to remember for Republicans is that it is adding trillions of dollars to the debt and deficit at a time where the bond market, the economy is in a precarious position. And you're seeing Republican voices make the point. You know, Jamie Dimon, not a liberal Democrat,
Right.
is basically saying the bond market could crack.
He said the threat is in the House, basically.
Yes, essentially. And what this means is this bill, which will, again, add trillions of dollars to the debt and deficit while cutting almost $1 trillion from Medicaid in order to pay for trillion upon trillion upon trillions of dollars of tax cuts that no one is demanding except the billionaires, this is an economic train wreck. And Republicans who've lectured Democrats on fiscal responsibility are throwing it all out the window for these tax cuts.
Remember, tax cuts are spending. They have to be paid for.
And these are not new tax cuts. They just extend the tax cuts. So people aren't going to actually feel any kind of new benefit, right? You're not going to have, someone who was working 3 jobs already that's going to feel like, these tax cuts are great. This is better for me.
And the thing is this, right? James Carver was on before us, and the infamous quote, "It's all about the economy, stupid." You cannot have a healthy economy if you have unhealthy people. And when you have the Republicans directly down on Capitol Hill cutting Medicare and Medicaid, from seniors, from vulnerable communities, people that are literally working class people, if these people get sick, guess what? They can't work. They can't take care of their children. And that hurts our economy across the board.
And I would just add one thing, which is, what Trump is doing, what the Republicans are doing, let's just remember the people who are going to lose health care, just to your point, but also the people who are paying these tariffs, the people who's got to pay a higher credit card bill because interest rates are going up, are working class people. The very people these people claim to speak for, they are bearing the burden of all of this. And that's why I think it's really important for Democrats to hold their chest up high as they fight this legislation.
There are some government cuts I can get behind, certainly, but I tend to be more small government. But things like the NOAA, the National Weather Organization that oversees and lets us know when we're in trouble, things like FEMA, things like the FAA. What are we funding? We're funding these tax cuts, yet we aren't taking care of, the most base needs to duck and cover.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the true legacy of Elon Musk, right? Because look, I think a lot of people could have said, hey, we could reform the government. The places where he's cutting are kind of the basic services that we need. Like when you can't rely on airplanes coming out of an airport because the air traffic controllers and their support has been cut. When the Weather Service has lost hundreds of people. These are elements that help our economy grow. These are basic services for people. I don't think it's like extravagant to be able to rely on the air traffic control system.
Well, park services this summer, but so when these basic services just aren't there, and they've started to hit in certain pockets, but not everywhere. Is that something? Is that the moment Democrats capitalize on?
The issue is this, right? That there's actually been real harm done. Yeah, I love that you brought up NOAA and FEMA, right? We're dealing with a situation right now in St. Louis and across the Midwest where tornadoes hit. That's something that NOAA would have caught and FEMA would have responded to. And in a situation where, people should be opting up and coming together among our agencies to take care of our American citizens, our fellow American citizens, largely also black and brown citizens in these places. Correct. Our federal government is opting out. And it's literally harm is already being done before we even get into another budget that's going to further cut these agencies.
Or North Carolina, where the administration literally just said they weren't approving additional dollars for North Carolina.
Neera, one of the things that we all know is that this attention economy, where to break through you have to do a lot, right? And to get people to pay attention to something for a long period of time, you have to do a lot. It is June 1. How do Democrats make sure that the effects of these, what they're feeling right now, they actually make Republicans pay for it in November? How do you guys do that?
So I think that we have to focus like a laser beam on actual harms to people and really try to tell the stories at the local level. And I applaud Democrats for going into Republican districts. We really saw over the last couple of recesses, Democrats would use stories of people who are harmed by Medicaid from a Republican district, go into the Republican district and really make clear. And what's amazing about those town halls is you'll have Eric Swalwell go into a Republican district and 600, 800, 1,000 people are coming out from that district. The point is, we have to remember, these things are not popular. In fact, Donald Trump is not popular. He's the least popular president. And it's important for us to remember that and go into, like, don't be shy.
Not be scared.
Don't be scared. Don't be a deer in headlights. Go into Republican districts and act like this is the people who are bearing the burden of this are working class people.
Neera, since we have you at the table and you worked in the most recent administration, you're public servant, the long hours, the toil that it takes. Watch what Mr. Bongino had to say on Fox News.
I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know, my wife is struggling. If you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there he gets in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night. You know, I'm in there at 7:30, but I stare at these four walls all day in D.C., you know, by myself, divorced from my wife. Not divorced, but I mean separated, divorced. And it's hard.
Neera, I'm breaking out the violin.
Make it smaller violin.
Sorry.
Smaller violin. There you go.
I have a recommendation for Don, my friend Don Bongino. Just quit your job. It sounds like it's stressful. It sounds like it's too tough for you. I really think maybe you should let a career public servant actually do this job instead of a right-wing influencer have the second job at the FBI. I think maybe it's important to spend more time with your wife and family and let the actual government work in peace.
Right, it's called public service for a reason. Of course, there are no tea and crumpets.
A job.
It's a job.
And not four walls. He saw the four walls.
Well, also, I love the detail, though, the turning on the faucets. They have a private bathroom.
Exactly.
They have a private bathroom at
And
work.
I'm just going to say, if you hear it, that's nasty. Neera Tanden, Eugene Craig, thank you. Coming up.